In this video today, we're talking about sleeping bags, specifically the Ampex Sanson 20 degree down-filled sleeping bag that comes in at a really good price point. And it's a bag that I really want to love. But there's a few things that stand out that are less than ideal for me with the design of the bag. And I want to compare it to the Sea to Summit Ascent down sleeping bag because both of these, they're pretty similar. Now, this video is not sponsored by Ampex. No money was exchanged to make the video. They did not ask for me to make the video, but a sample of the bag was provided for free for me to use out in the field and share my honest thoughts and feelings of my experience of using this bag. All right, my friends, here it is, the Sanson 20 degree down-filled sleeping bag from Ampex. I've had many of you reach out and ask for my review and just my experience with this bag and whether or not I recommend it. And I truly want to love this bag. There's a lot of cool things feature-wise. It's got a great price point, but there are a couple things that I'm like, why did this get released with these issues? We'll talk about those here in a second, but I want to go through just specs and features of the bag here first, and then we'll talk about my experience and cons of the bag and whether or not I recommend it after that. This is a regular size bag here that is down filled with a 700 fill power down. That's a duck down that's also RDS certified, and it has Blue Sign certified recycled fabrics that are used for the body of the bag. When you look at the design of it, it's not the roomiest bag ever. It is a traditional mummy-shaped bag with a pretty tapered hood, pretty wide through the torso area, and then it tapers down into the footbox. And your footbox is fairly good size. There's enough space and room for your feet to move around, but not have a ton of dead space either. Now, the price point, this is where I think people are mostly interested in this bag because it comes in at $200 USD. That's a very approachable price point for a 700 fill power down-filled bag. The quality of the bag here is nice. It is constructed really well, and you have so many features that make it a really good value from that standpoint. So let's work from the top down and talk about each of the features. The hood is moderately sized to cradle around your head, but not feel like it is so tight on your head that it's like constricting and claustrophobic. You have a piece of shock cord in here that allows it to tension and close off that space. So you can really tighten this up and reduce any kind of draft opportunity with the hood. And you also have an integrated pillow pocket here. Now, if we move down into the torso area of the bag, there's a little hidden pocket here that you could put something small in there, but you have two number 5 YKK zippers that allow for access into the bag. You're able to flip this back and then you can cradle yourself like this is a little blanket for you and that kind of thing. And I like that. It makes it a bit more approachable and less claustrophobic, more bed-like. You have this draft collar right here that does allow for you to trap heat inside of the bag, keep cold air out, and an additional like draft collar all the way around the zipper for it to reduce drafts that way. And then about a 3/4 length of zipper down to the footbox to really open things up here and make it so it's super easy to get in and out of the bag. This also features all horizontal baffles for your down. Again, 700 fill power duck down inside of it, but you're not also having to worry about any kind of weird down distribution or it falling to the sides and such. Move down through the knee area, it does taper quite a bit, and then the footbox is very well insulated and it's large and spacious, and it just makes for a comfortable sleeping experience that way. And then lastly, for the features of the bag here, you have a sewn-in integrated pad sleeve system. So here at the top, you have a piece of elastic with some stretchy mesh and then your nylon fabric to attach to your sleeping pad, and then a webbing strap here at the footbox to just keep the bag attached to your sleeping pad so that when you're moving around and such at night, it's not like flipping and turning and being a problem that sometimes you see is the case with a mummy-shaped bag. They like to move with you as you turn. And the very last thing about the bag is the weight. For all of this in the regular size, it's 2 pounds 5 ounces. I think that is a very reasonable weight for all of the features, the things that are included, the size of the bag, and this being a 20-degree comfort rated bag. Now, my experience of sleeping in this has been really positive. I'll dig into that a little bit more here in a second, but I've had it out down into freezing temperatures and all sorts of different conditions on camping and backpacking trips, and this is a warm, comfortable bag. It just has been enjoyable that way. But what are the issues that I have with this bag? The first is about the draft collar. This comes into the zipper track on the top here and just gets caught into the zipper pretty frequently, and I'm constantly like pulling it out of the way from the zipper, and I don't like that. But the much bigger issue that I have with this bag, and it makes me question, like, did Ampex actually test this in the field with all of the different size sleeping pads that they offer or other brands pads before they released it? Let's talk about the strap here at the bottom first. Now, I have intentionally over tightened this to accentuate this issue. Okay, so if I get into the sleeping bag here, mind you, I'm on a 25-inch wide long pad. So it's like 77 inches, but 25 inches wide is key to what I'm talking about here. Now, again, I did pull this strap fairly tight, but I feel like that's what most people are going to do with this bag. And what happens is that's going to become a cold spot because it's pulling the baffle tight right here. And I'm getting pressure as well on my shins from that. And that just like limits the amount of comfort opportunity, and it just isn't, I think, very well thought out. Even if I loosen the strap here quite a bit, like as much as it'll go, then it's pretty decent. But if I'm like laying on my side or anything, then I still get that reduction in loft in that exact spot. And I think over time, you're gonna find that the down isn't gonna want to lay properly and loft properly in that spot. So then you end up with cold spots. So I think what I would end up doing, honestly, is just cutting this piece of webbing off completely, and then I don't even have to think about it, and I save a little bit of weight on the bag that way, because it just really doesn't make sense for this application, in my opinion. So issue number 2 also has to do with the sewn in pad sleeve attachment. And again, I'm on a 25-inch wide pad, but that's important to note because 25-inch wide pads are becoming more and more popular, and more so than a 20-inch width pad. So I'm gonna lay down here and show you what happens. I'll also roll in some B-roll because I don't want to cover my microphone all the way. But what happens is, as I just zip up the zippers on both sides, doesn't matter if my head is out of the hood or in the hood, it's so unbelievably tight over the chest and the shoulders. And this is a regular size bag. Like, the sizing fits me the way that it should in length and such. That's as far as I'm gonna go. You'll see in the B-roll. But what happens is it gets so tight across the chest that it makes it difficult to zip the bag all the way up when you've got it attached to a 25-inch wide pad. And then it also is pressing against your chin with the shock cord, and you can feel it on your face as well. This is a big design flaw, in my opinion. And for this to get released, potentially knowing that that's the case, I'm a little surprised about. So now, earlier I said that I've had really good, comfortable nights of sleep in this bag. And how is that the case if I have this big issue with the integrated pad sleeve of the sleeping bag? Well, all I did in that case was remove the strap from the pad down here, and then completely remove the sleeping bag from the pad here at the top, which seems counterintuitive, because if that's a design feature of the sleeping bag, you want to be able to use that. It's designed to keep the bag in place so that when you move around and such, you don't have issues. but it is a flaw. Like, it doesn't allow for you to move freely inside of the bag the way that the pad sleeve attachment is supposed to provide with this design. Now, there are plenty of other sleeping bags out there on the market that use a pad sleeve attachment. This one just isn't working the way that it should with a 25-inch wide pad. So I'd like to see Ampex fix that on this sleeping bag to make it so that that is just simply not an issue. Now, as a quick comparison, this is the Sea to Summit Ascent down sleeping bag that has very similar features to the Ampex. You have the dual zipper function where it makes it more bed-like. It's also a little bit less aggressive of a taper and more rectangular shape, so it's more like roomy inside the bag. And you also have a zipper here at the foot box that lets you stick your feet out and regulate temperature that way. But otherwise, like, really similar. And in fact, 1 ounce difference in weight. The Sea to Summit bag is 2 pounds 4 ounces. The Ampex bag is 2 pounds 5 ounces. 750 fill power here in the Sea to Summit, 700 in the Ampex. So pretty similar in that aspect, but this also carries a much higher price tag. The price for this Sea to Summit bag is $470, so $270 more than the Ampex bag. Is this truly $270 better than the Ampex? I don't know. I mean, the Ampex has these issues that we're talking about. And so this is an amazing bag, and I think like really good for the price point, but it is expensive. And so I'm sitting here like, man, I really enjoy the Ampex from all of the features, minus what the integrated pad sleeve does to the performance and comfort of the sleeping bag. So because of that issue, I can't sit here and recommend this, even though I've had a good experience with it outside of using it attached to a sleeping pad. So I'd really like to see Ampex go back to the drawing board, fix that issue, and make this a better value from that standpoint, and make it work really well with the 25-inch wide pad. Those are my thoughts and feelings on the Ampex Sanson 20-degree down sleeping bag. Thanks for watching today, guys. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. Hope you have an awesome day. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.